makes me want to holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
Oh, yeah, you know, we need them. We need those strategies. Those strategies for living. So are you ready? Are you ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I like a girl that's ready.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah. Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian, and she is psychotherapist, PLPC Lauren Leon McMillian. You know, we don't talk, you know what we don't talk about enough on this program?
What's that?
Relationship.
Yeah,
especially couple relationships and all of the aspects that go with them. There's a lot of talk nowadays, Lauren, about attachment theory.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it's exploded.
And you can find a lot on attachment out there. But let's take a step back for a moment and consider that the foundation of attachment is in the primary couple, in what kind of relationship.
Well, yeah,
that couple has.
Your original attachment shows up with your first primary caregiver, right?
Right,
but then it's
right.
replicated and is reflected back to you,
Absolutely.
as you're saying, in the primary couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my point is, before there's a child, there's a relationship.
Of course, I see.
So that relationship is foundational.
Yes, absolutely.
In terms of the formation of attachment. I'm kind of going way back, right?
You're cycling back.
I'm cycling back. And turns out there are 4 stages to relationships, and I'd like us to talk about those today.
Let's do that. I think it's important.
I think it is important. I mean, you know,
I think, because everything we do in this life is in relationship.
No
period,
question.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so that's why I think something as sacred as a primary relationship can be for all of us to grow and evolve.
And I'm glad you're using the word sacred, because it is. It definitely is. Folks, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Strategies for Living. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, pretty good Muffies too, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. Back in a moment, going to talk about the 4 stages of a relationship today on Strategies.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem drab. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome in. Welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. Glad you're with us. We're talking about relationships today. In fact, we're going to talk about the 4 stages of a relationship. Let me go ahead and give all 4 stages, and then we'll come back and talk in some detail about each one of these.
Okay. Yeah.
Stage 1 is infatuation. Mm-hmm. This is the honeymoon.
Right. I've heard of that.
Yeah. And then stage 2 is called differentiation. So it could also be called the unveiling. That's a hard stage.
Yep.
Stage 3 is called repair and growth. You could also call it the work, because the work of a relationship really takes place in all 4 stages, but especially in stage 3. And then stage 4 is secure love. It's harmony. It's balance. And those are what we're going to talk about today. And as we talk about this, I might challenge listeners to think of your own relationship.
Yeah.
And where
see if you can see the stages.
Yeah.
As you're mentioning it, I can't help but think, even in our relationship, right? I can see the stages, these stages in particular.
Most definitely.
But I think there comes a point, it makes me think sort of the stages of grief, where I think they cycle.
Yeah.
I think
tell me more.
Well, I think once, this is just what I've observed, especially I think within our relationship in particular, once you get to the secure place, all 4 of them begin to emerge at different times and places continuously in cycles.
Yeah.
Right. And so we can
couples continue to grow. Couples need to continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not growing, think of any organism. Think of any organism, and a couple is an organism. It's a living, breathing thing.
System. It's a system of 2 living, breathing things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Who, in some cases, invite others in, right?
Yeah.
Whether that be children, or whether that be other family members that come close,
or pets, or the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All those whose lives we touch, right?
And so we all, some people say, well, what can I do? What can I do in this crazy world? Well, one thing that we can all do is make ourselves better and make our primary relationships better.
Yeah.
Because if we do that, we're strengthening community.
Right. Because we're all connected, right? And I also love the image of, the Gottman house, right? Yeah. In a very...
You're talking John Gottman.
John and Julie Gottman.
Yeah, Dr. John Gottman. I love his stuff.
Right.
And I know you like it too.
Right. And so the image it brings to mind is of the house and the chimney.
Yeah.
Right. Because in a good, healthy, loving relationship, there's a chimney in the relationship house that, emits the love to the rest of the community, and it touches everybody.
The smoke is going out into into the entire world.
Right. Which is very accurate for the way it is that we understand it, even as we are beginning to understand on a quantum level how everyone is connected. Right. Yeah. And so if I better myself, and if I am able to share more of my love, and create it with other people.
I'm bettering other people. Right. I'm bettering the community and the world. Yeah. And so that's what we can do.
That's a huge thing that we can do, whether we recognize it or not.
Right. And so that's why, again, maybe we need to talk more about relationships and relationship development as we're doing today. So stage 1, of course, is infatuation. It's the honeymoon.
Right.
Okay, so we got to talk about dopamine and oxytocin here.
Yeah, I mean, your brain lights up like it is on drugs.
Because it is.
Yeah.
Because it literally is. Yeah. The oxytocin and the dopamine.
And serotonin. Yeah, all of those good feel-good chemicals are flooding the brain.
And they're going to make
and
you...
the body.
And the body. And they're going to make you feel alive and magnetic.
Yep.
And consumed.
Right.
consumed by connection. Now, what do I mean by that? Well,
a little obsessive.
yeah, I mean, in a healthy relationship, I guess it begins going through this honeymoon stage, this infatuation stage is what this particular thing calls it. But it's the beginning. It's the honeymoon.
Right.
It's the newness.
It's the biological love is really what it is. Because I hate to break something as sacred down to something, but biology is sacred as well, right?
Sure,
I mean, the main driver there is to get us together so that we'll mate, right? And so that's the biological underpinning of this phase, right?
And what you're referring to, I think, is Scott Peck's work from The Road Less Traveled, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, he distinguishes between it's real love and romantic love, right?
Yes.
And so I think you're referencing his kind of, and it's a very good way to look at it. When he talks about romantic love, he talks about the ego boundaries collapsing.
Yeah.
And, it feels like, and that's what this infatuation stage is. It feels like, oh my God, I didn't know there was a human being out there that thought the same way that I thought.
Right. And that's an important piece, right? Because in this stage...
You mean the thinking part?
the thinking part and the thinking how much you're alike, right?
Yeah.
Because in this stage, you're not just attracted, you're projecting.
Yes,
right?
you are. Yeah.
You see the person, but more than the person, you see who you hope they are.
Right.
And you see how you feel with them. Right.
And all of that is part of projection. I mean, we're screens for each other. Mm-hmm. We're perfect screens for each other in primary relationships. Mm-hmm. And so it gives us a chance not only to look at the other person, but if we're wise, to look at ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I've seen a few clients during this stage when they first fall in love with someone. And
it's delicious.
It is. But I often tell them, okay, let's use this fertile time for your own growth and development as well. How can you use this to catapult your own relationship with self? And it's been a fun kind of way to help people along, to use it.
Okay, I have a question to throw out and put on the table. Not that I'm expecting you to have the answer, but how long should this infatuation stage, this dopamine, oxytocin flow, this magnetism, this consumption, if you will, with connection?
That's a good question.
So how long should, and maybe I should,
yeah.
But how long is typical of this stage lasting?
I'm sure I don't know the exact answer, right? I'm sure
I don't think there is an exact answer.
I'm sure there's been biological studies, though, about for how long this lasts. My guess would be months to a year, right? But my answer would also be, I hope it's something that we can pull out over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
Right? The idea that we continuously are able to fall in love with our person of choice. Yeah.
And again, we mentioned at the beginning of the program, attachment theory. All right, so maybe, if you cycle through too rapidly in and out of this honeymoon phase, then maybe you want to look.
That's going to be telling you something.
Maybe you really want to look at attachment for yourself. Maybe go online, maybe take one of the surveys that'll tell you what kind of attachment your primary attachment is, because you mentioned this earlier, your primary attachments are going to be a sponsor.
Right.
They're not going to a model and a sponsor, not defining totally, but at the very least a model and a sponsor for these primary relationships we get into as we grow and as we adult.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's really incredible if we look at it from both a biological and a psychological point of view, how we're able to attract and bring particular people into our lives.
Yep.
Because so often we fall in love with a person who offers a beautiful reflection psychologically of those early childhood wounds.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to get to that in the next stage.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because this stage definitely builds bonding, but it also masks red flags. Right? Yeah. And I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking today, the 4 stages of a relationship. Where are you as we move through this, and where's your relationship, and is there work to do? I would challenge us all, because when we improve our relationships, we improve the world.
Yep.
Talking about it today here on Strategies for Living, and we'll be right back.
Facing the same old problems day to day makes you wanna holler, get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there. Looking for hope and peace to spare. Looking for strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab.
And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren, Leon McMillian, David McMillian. We're talking about the stages of relationship today. There are 4 of them. We're through the infatuation stage. That's the honeymoon. And we mentioned right before break, this stage is about building bonding.
Right.
But it's also a mask of red flags. Right. And we get into the unmasking of a lot of those red flags in stage 2. Right. Which is called differentiation, or we could also call it, Lauren, the unveiling.
I like that.
Yeah, the unveiling.
What?
Because so let's just be real. Mm-hmm. We all put, early, we put our best foot forward, and we're the best us we can be, and some of that is a result of oxytocin and dopamine,
right? Sure.
And we are being our best, but nothing lasts forever, and so as Peck, you mentioned Scott Peck earlier, and his definition of romantic love versus real love.
Right.
So in romantic love, he says the ego boundaries collapse, right?
Right.
And we feel like, oh my goodness, I never knew there was another person this much.
We're the same person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just perfect.
But however, always that the ego boundaries, what goes down must come back up, and they do snap back up. Now we get into what Peck says is real love, which is he defines it as a stretching, not a collapsing of the ego boundaries, but a conscious decision to stretch.
Right.
Ego boundaries.
Which I think moves into stage 3.
Yeah.
The work. But,
yeah, definitely. Oh, most definitely.
But
most
stage
definitely.
2 is when those things begin to surface.
Right.
And I kind of want to put a marker there because I think the red flags are definitely present during the honeymoon phase.
Most definitely.
They're there.
We just may not see them.
We just don't see them, right? And or they're reframed, right? As, oh, well, that's just a funny quirk.
Isn't that cute
yeah.
what she does? Or isn't that cute what he does? Yeah. But it may not stay so cute.
Right.
Yeah, right. So in the differentiation, which I've also, we're calling the unveiling, the nervous system is going to relax, and the mask that perhaps we have been wearing come off. So what's going to happen then attachment-wise? Well,
they flare back up.
Yeah, the old attachment wounds and the old attachment wounds and survival strategies come back to the surface. And so here's where conflict begins, because truth is showing.
Right.
Not necessarily, and this is so important. I really want to talk about this.
Okay.
It's so important to understand what you're seeing is not love gone. It's truth showing. Now let's talk about
that's an important differentiation.
Yeah, let's talk about the difference between, because at this point, when at this point in the life of the relationship, in the the unveiling, if you will,
right?
You may think, oh gosh, maybe I'm not in love with this person.
Right. Well, I mean, so what does go on biologically, like you were talking about, is the nervous system settles. So you do truly have less dopamine, less oxytocin, less serotonin flooding the body.
Right.
Which for some people may signal to you, oh my gosh, I'm out of love and this isn't right.
Yeah.
And like you said, those attachment styles surface, right?
Yeah.
So if you're someone who has a more anxious style, right, you might begin to fear that you're losing the person or that they're going to abandon you, right? That's the fear of abandonment that often goes with anxious attachment. Or if you're on the other end, if you're more avoidant, right, that fear of being engulfed, of, oh my gosh, they're taking over my life and I can't differentiate between us, right?
Yeah.
Begins to surface.
And so this is a stage where a lot of couples break.
Sure.
This is a stage where, when the conflict begins, the arguments, of course, feel threatening, and we're uncomfortable, and that's sometimes mistaken for incompatibility, and that's not necessarily so.
And especially, I think, for people who haven't had a good model of conflict resolution or what that looks like, right? If we grew up in a family where, either one or many extremes, right? Where we
you may have never seen your folks fight.
Right? Or you saw it all the time. Either extreme can make people conflict averse and afraid of engaging in that. But I think it's important for us to recognize that conflict is not dysfunction.
No, it's normal.
It's information.
Yeah.
It's important information for us then as a couple to look at curiously, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, this is coming up for me. What is that? What is it? What's coming up for you? And what does that mean for us? And how can we move through this together?
Yeah. Do you remember our first fight?
Do I remember our first one?
Yeah.
I remember some of our first. I don't know. You remember the first?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But it's a normal thing.
Yeah. I don't know if I remember the first, but I do remember the first issues that emerged.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot for me was about I was more anxiously attached. Right. And so it was a lot within me was about, whoa, okay, how can I approach this differently? Right. I think one of the early things that I found, and we talked about together was if I was anxious and you were tired, that's not, we're not going to accomplish anything.
We're not, no, the only thing there that can happen is bad.
That was a recipe
and so
for
we
trouble.
agreed. I mean, we made an agreement.
Right.
That, okay, I'm going to be honest. If I'm tired, if I'm too, all couples fight.
Right.
And I'm putting fight in, it's healthy.
Yes.
Let me get that on the table. It's healthy to fight. However, you got to fight fairly, you know?
Yeah.
And nothing unfair, no criticism, no contempt, no stonewalling.
No defensiveness.
No defensiveness. Those are the deadly horsemen to stay away from. And if you stay away from those, then you can pretty much fight fairly. And what do you want to do in a fight? You want to move to a place where you compromise with each other.
Right.
Where you can live with this and I can live with this. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So,
and
I mean,
we make the problem, right?
Yeah. Right. That's a good point.
We work together to solve the problem rather than to fix or change each other.
Too many times, even after couples marry and they've been together a long time, we make one another the problem instead of making the problem the problem.
Yeah, and I think that just that practice alone is huge, not just for couples growth, but for personal growth.
Absolutely.
Because what being able to look at the problem rather than each other
and know that we can get together and solve this problem.
What that shows to a person in the couple is that, whoa, we are not the stories that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not these compilations of personalities that we put on, right? Because if there's a part of us that can work together to solve this issue, we're more than the issue.
Yeah.
Right?
We're stronger than the issue itself. And that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what the issue is.
No.
It really doesn't because, we might think, well, there's some things out there that are just too big. There's really not.
No. And I like the point that you've made this point before, right? There are solvable problems and then there are unsolvable problems.
Yeah. And we have to decide which one is this because we're going to manage them differently.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You solve solvable problems,
sure.
and you do that together. Every person in every relationship does have unsolvable problems. Well, those have to be dealt with differently. You manage those.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, how will we manage XYZ? Because you're not going to change the way you think about XYZ. I'm not going to change the way I think about XYZ.
So how can we manage when it comes up?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How can we best navigate through? So even though many couples break during this stage, this stage where it's the unveiling, the differentiation. This is really a gateway. And this stage is the gateway to depth.
Yes.
If you lean into it.
Not just for the couple, but for each individual. That's
Absolutely.
the gateway to depth.
Well, that's
and
the
growth.
whole point.
And I think, if you're a person who's cycled, once you get out of the honeymoon, you leave. I'd encourage you to look at that because you're not just shortchanging the other person. You're shortchanging yourself.
Big time.
Huge.
Big time, because relationships are like nothing else that can grow us.
Right. Well, they're relationships.
Absolutely.
They're ships. They transport us.
Yeah. Talk about going to church.
Amen.
Relationships can be nothing against organized religions and church, but relationships, wow.
Transportation to the sacred.
You can really grow spiritually.
Yeah.
And I hope you are in your relationships. We're talking about the phases of relationships today here on Strategies for Living. We've got much more to come. We dive into the work next. Be right back.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies, strategies, strategies for living radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. I'm laughing because if we go radio silent, I want people to understand. In between breaks, we're talking about, the conflicts and the fights that we've had and what happened here. So if we go radio silent, you'll know that you got the best of us.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, or maybe it was the worst of us, right?
Well, hopefully the best, but yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back into Strategies for Living as we talk about the stages of healthy relationships. And we've talked about the infatuation stage, the honeymoon period. We've talked about differentiation or the unveiling. Now let's talk about stage 3, which is really the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So this is repair and this is growth. So here is where you learn the skills. You learn the skills, you develop the skills that love absolutely requires. Let's talk about what some of those are.
Okay.
We've already mentioned the 4 deadly horsemen, right?
Yes.
Defensiveness, stonewalling, contempt, and criticism. And, contempt, if some people don't understand really what is contempt, it's talking down to.
Yeah.
And some people say, well, criticism and contempt, aren't those the same thing? No, not the same thing at all. Criticism is I'm hitting below the belt, right?
Right.
That's criticism. Contempt is I'm talking down to you.
Right. I'm better.
Yeah, I'm better than you are. And so we want to, at all costs, those 4 deadly horsemen, be aware of them and keep them from riding. In the years that, I did couples therapy, I can't tell you how accurate Dr. John Gottman's work is there.
Right. Because
in most cases where people end up as a couple in therapy, at least 2 to 3, sometimes all 4 of those horsemen are just riding rimshod.
Right.
And if we can recognize those early in the therapy and begin to work on them individually, you can begin to see the relationship improve immediately, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why those are so important. But the communication needs to take place without any defensiveness, which covers 2 of the horses as I see it, which is defensiveness and stonewalling. Right.
Yeah, right.
And we need to be able to conflict is inevitable,
right,
Lauren, but you've got to be able to repair.
Yeah,
after conflict.
That's another thing that the Gottmans talk about, right? Being able to recognize and receive repair attempts.
Yes.
Right.
Most definitely.
Right. So to be able to recognize when your partner is making a bid to repair.
A bid for repair and connection.
Yeah.
Because if you're not aware, if you're not open to that, you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to miss that.
No. Because that's harmful for both parties involved.
Yeah. Obviously, even in relationships that are intimate and loving and, we've got a great marriage, you might say, there still needs to be boundaries.
Yep.
Yeah. And those boundaries have to have respect. And both of you in the relationship need to understand that my significant other is going to have boundaries. And even if I don't understand all that the boundaries are,
right,
and there may be some that you don't, truly, and maybe especially sexually.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
But you have to respect those boundaries, and you have to decide, let's go with the let's flow with the more conservative partner. You know, and so again, the boundaries are just so important when it comes to relationships. Now, what are we really talking about here? We're really talking about your area, which is the neuroscience.
Yeah.
Because what we're really talking about in repair and growth, we're talking about nervous system regulation.
Absolutely.
But we're talking about nervous system regulation together.
Co-regulation is what you're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And that's an incredibly powerful tool that I think we need to talk about more.
I agree.
Just as a society to recognize how connected we are, not just spiritually, but biologically. Right? I mean, we know that heartbeats tend to sync together when we're...
You are so on target. And when, again, I don't want to spend too much time on this today, but when you step back and look at our world, what you see is so much reactivity.
Yes.
And so that reactivity just is going to keep the conflict going.
Well, and the reactivity is a sign of a dysregulated nervous system.
Absolutely.
And a person who's unaware of their dysregulated nervous system,
Right.
which is what makes the reactivity so dangerous.
Yes.
Right? And so the emotional regulation piece is a both and, right? So it's important, and it doesn't have to be that you regulate yourself and then you can co-regulate. This is something that can be done in tandem.
Sure.
Right? That's the beauty of co-regulation.
Because what you're doing here is rewiring old patterns. So it's where relationships stop being reenactments of childhood wounds,
Right.
and they start becoming places of healing. We all come into relationships with, even when we had a great childhood,
Sure.
we come into relationships with some woundedness. But in a healthy relationship, that's where things can get rewired,
Right.
and repaired and healed.
And there are some wounds that can only be repaired in relationship, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think there are some, if the wound was formed in relationship, oftentimes it must be healed in relationship.
Absolutely. Finally, you get to secure love, which is harmony, where repair just becomes natural and safety replaces anxiety.
Yeah.
And now you've got deep intimacy because trust has been built through both rupture
And repair. Over and over and over again.
Over and over and over again. And that's the sacredness
Right.
of relationships. Big time. So wherever you are, if you're not where you want to be, as you've listened to this, I encourage you to talk to your partner first and foremost. Also encourage you to think about help. There's a lot of help available out there in self-help books, in couples therapy. There's a lot of places that people can go to get help.
Absolutely.
And I hope this radio program is one of those places.
So
We'll be back. More strategies to come. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian. You've just worked hard today.
well, I don't know about that.
David McMillian, and you're the therapist of the bunch, so it's the burden's on you now.
Yeah.
Welcome back into Strategies, folks. We've covered a lot of ground today in the phases of relationships, the stages of relationships. What's our takeaway? What's your takeaway for the things that we've covered today?
I think kind of the stages show that our relationships, our romantic relationships, evolve from a place of chemistry to choice, right? I mean, in the if we're able to follow it through,
Yeah.
right? Because I think so many people I see fall out after the chemistry fades. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm, I've called it sacred and I'm going to continue. That's where the sacred begins.
And you may be missing a lot of sacred opportunities for repair.
Big time.
To give up too early.
Because we don't pick partners, we pick patterns to help reflect back to each other and then to grow together in love and share that love with all those we touch.
Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but there's never been a better time, Lauren, than the world we live in right now for help. And so there's a massive number of self-help books, including the Gottmans.
Yes.
John Gottman, John and Julie Gottman, and great couples therapists out there. So if you need help, ask for it. Folks, thank you for tuning into Strategies for Living. Appreciate you being with us, and we appreciate our sponsors making it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, and some pretty good muffies too, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillian, I'm David McMillian. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.